Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Might as well make that public, eh? Hey, Mark. First one in, if you could give me a sound and video report, my friend, that would be great. Just a report. Let me know if you can hear everything, see everything. Last week we had a little trouble. Oh, great. Last week we had a little trouble with the internet here. Oh, good to hear. Thanks for the report, Brad. Thanks, Craig. The flicking light has been fixed. I had enough of you comment on it and express that you were annoyed with it, that I had to fix it. Hey, Dalton. I just had to fix it. Actually, I just went back and hauled the cable out of it because they're actually these lights right here were all into the shop. They're beautiful lights, but the lights back there are two I installed when I came in, and it's some of the lights that I took out of the last shop, the shop that was in the attached garage on my house. That shop ceiling was lined with these 4-foot lights like that you can buy on Amazon. They're really white for filming. They're really nice for filming. They're 4-foot and they daisy chain. So if you guys remember because I filmed that whole series of building out that workshop, and the two lights up front plugged in to plug-ins, and then they just daisy chain all the way down the ceiling. So I pulled a couple of those, threw them up there in the ceiling, and one finally gave out. But they've been great. I think I paid $200 for 6 or 8 lights, and and they've been fantastic. Ultra bright, really white color. The goatee is coming along, you think? You think? I don't think I'm going to let it get any longer. I might even shorten it up a little bit from there. But it has been nice. It has been nice for respirator's sake. Hey, Strapped and Dangerous is here. This might upset people, but then some other people might be curious what I've got here. I'm not generally a big fan of peachy flavor, but that was the most interesting flavor they had today. I have maybe one every couple of weeks, just as a little treat. On the way down to the shop today, I had to stop and fill up the truck with gas. I think I'm going to get an energy drink just to keep me chipper and in with a skip in my step all evening, because I do find they do keep me feeling good. I always get the 0 sugar kind because I don't want the mass amount of sugar. Whoa, Chris, that's quite a time. I'm glad that you got your knife. That was a beautiful build. I loved that one. Yes, Chad, how is everyone doing tonight? How's your week been? I'd love to hear. Everyone, if you would, hit that like button. Tell me something interesting. Sorry, I'm not saying interest me, but tell me something interesting about your week. The most interesting thing to you. Did you get a new pet? Did you quit your job? Did you get a new job? Did you go on a cool trip? Did you buy something cool? I'd love to hear about it. Chad, I'm guessing you worked all week, buddy. Strapped and Dangerous just wants the plain old-fashioned Coke. I've got some beautiful steel behind me. We're going to have Strapped and Dangerous shopping tonight. We're going to have him shopping tonight. We've got some real nice. So, my dad spends quite a bit of time here with me in the shop, and we build. I notice people seem to be dropping out of the stream. I don't know if we're boring people or if you could give me a quick report on the audio and sound here. So if you could give me another quick report. This is not the guitar I repaired. I did do an adjustment on this thing. This is a really cheap Yamaha. This is a F325, I think, if you want to look it up. It's a Meranti body and top, I believe. It's just a laminate top and a Meranti body. But it sounds great. It plays great with an adjustment. Most guitars are able to play great with a good setup. Even like this is I think like a $200 or $300 guitar. Hey, Michael, it's a $200 or $300 guitar, but it plays fantastic with a good setup. Doesn't sound incredible, but it sounds decent. Honestly, I like Yamaha gear. But this week we focused a lot, although there have been a few custom builds come through this week. A couple that might be on the table there now, but focused on production knives because he is heading he's heading out of town, I think, for a little bit. And so next week, anyway, I think I'll be spending the whole week in the shop by myself. And I'm going to use that time to work on custom build projects. And I've got a bunch here in motion that I'm going to be finishing up. I can see a row behind me here on the mag strip. Some fine customs, so those are waiting leather work. I've got some other custom builds that I'll be starting from scratch and working through, because customs just take a different level of focus and time commitment than production knives that roll through pretty smoothly if there's nothing too much out of the ordinary. But if you're working through a batch of knives and your pins are all standard sizes and your scale materials are all pretty normal, and you've got a standard saber grind, flat grind, that type of thing. And now you come across this Tuckamore requires one enlarged pin, a mosaic pin, and spine filing, like tang filing, decorative filing, as well as some special scale material. That just like stops production because everything can't move along until that knife is done. So it creates a little bit of a headache. So it's nice when you can just run a custom batch by itself, and you could do, say, 10 custom pieces. And if it takes you, all week or even a couple of weeks to work through, you can do that. And you can take as much time because they're all slow getting to heat treat. You're working through all of them, taking your time. This one needs this stamping. This one needs that filing. This one needs that jimping. And so on. But in that light, if you're looking for a custom build, you can email me. I'll go ahead and add my email to the chat there now. Kyle@np-inc.ca. Chad, I certainly get that, buddy. But yeah, that's how things go. So I'm excited, honestly, for the week of digging into customs, but it's also going to let me to do some good filming, because filming also, just like with custom builds, take time you've really got to slow down and set up the camera, and it just adds a bunch of time. But if I'm here in the shop working at my own pace, I can do that. I'm pretty excited for that. I've got the next boat video almost done. Strapped and Dangerous, have you got your boy there with you this week? Thanks for the report, Chad. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, this is a great little guitar. Strapped and Dangerous for the 90th Warrior. I haven't put too much. I've got some thought into it, but it eludes me here in this moment. I know I've got some notes on it, but I'll have to refer to that when I start in on Monday, because that is top of the list here right now. I've also got a pair of what are Schrade Sharp Fingers, if you guys are familiar with that design. So we're doing like something like that, very close to that, very beautiful. I've got a bunch of leather work here to the side of me. I was stitching right up until the live stream started. Have a look at this beautiful sheath. In case you didn't know, if you haven't been on the website in a while, knknives.ca, you can now purchase the pocket clip sheath right off the site. Right off the site. Thanks, Chad. We're a little slow. Looks like we're a little slow here tonight, a little dry here tonight. Maybe it's my fault for not leading a real exciting stream. I actually started the stream, and I was sitting there for maybe 3-4 minutes. There wasn't a soul coming in, and I realized I had the stream set to private, so nobody would be able to get in. So I had to go back and edit it and make it public. But you can shop for the pocket clip sheath, and there's been a ton of interest. Ever since I showed it on that one custom build, I've had a ton of requests, and they've been selling really well on the website as well. But this fits the Bake Apple and the Mini Tradesman perfectly. Fits both very nicely. My own Mini Tradesman, let me just drop it in and show you here. So that's a real nice fit there. That's what I'm carrying as well, is that pocket clip sheath. I just put a fresh edge on my Mini just today. But the pocket clip sheath in black and brown with chrome clip, which is also really beautiful, is available on the website. Now, as for knives working on this week, let's show a couple knives here. Let's show a couple knives. Brad, no, I wouldn't have started that kitchen knife build yet, buddy. Oh, that's interesting, Ariel. That's an interesting choice. We have a Mini, and this one is available on the website, or this model, and this is the brass with black and then the yellow liner. Very, very nice piece, the Mini Tradesman. I believe the green that I just showed as well is available on the site. We showed last week, but I have a fresh batch here now. I showed them, and these were just sharpened, but they're coated in wax from the buffing, so they haven't. They're dirty, and you'll see that. You'll see it all up on the blade here. You'll see it all up along. See that? See that? All that soot and stuff on the blade. So that'll be all cleaned up. But there we have the electric blue curly maple. Just beautiful. Should be available on the site. Then the turquoise curly maple. And then we have, I know you guys really like the Mountain Terrain Camo. That's a green, gray, natural, and a reddish tone, a maroon finish in the Bake Apple. Those, I'm not sure if they're available on the site right now, but they'll be coming if they're not on there already. Oh, yeah, Strapped and Dangerous. I could definitely see that. It's a very aggressive style blade. I could see it being great for that. Yeah, Chad, shipping is a little wonky now. I've got a bunch of pocket clips on the way too, and they're just not showing up. They're just not showing up. Let's get something a little more different than you've seen. How about a baked apple in a black, and this would be like an olive green, a military green. Look at that, G10 with a thick black liner. The green kind of washes out, but it's really like between a forest and an olive green. Really cool layered G10. Really, just a beautiful piece. Really, really cool. Avid Hunter, yeah, shoot me an email if you want to talk about that, buddy. We can certainly do that. We can certainly do that. But that's a cool piece. I've got a few of those here. Those should go up on the website fairly soon. We have the gray maple. This is just a single piece, and it's available. It may not make it to the website. Not all builds make it to the website, and there's an interesting, or kind of an interesting reason for that, and that's yeah. 1 second. What happens is, so that's one baked apple, and every time a new item gets added to the site, you have to do a photo shoot for that product, and then you edit the photos, and then you build the website ad, and you have to upload the photos and put it on the website. And so sometimes if you've got just a single build and it's something smaller like a baked apple, it won't make it to the website. What'll happen is it'll sit here not on the website until I get an email request. Hey, I'm looking for a new baked apple. Do you have anything interesting or anything? I often get inquiries like that. Someone will say, hey, I checked out the website. I saw what you have there. Just reaching out to see if you have anything maybe unique or something that's not on the site. I don't think I would think to do that myself, but I actually get a lot of inquiries like that. And so that's when I'll say, actually, I have a real beautiful baked apple here in gray curly maple that hasn't gone on the website. And it's usually a fairly easy sell, but I didn't have to do the work of building the website ad and doing the photo shoot and all that kind of thing. So time-wise, it pays off, right? Is that dust on my guitar there? Oh, yeah, it is. Perks of being in a knife shop. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Rick. Welcome to the live stream. I got quite the sunburn on my head this week, guys. It's taming down there now, but you can probably get the reddish tone. Little Holmes, welcome. Are you saying you're from Newfoundland, or are you acknowledging that I'm from Newfoundland? Let's see some of the bigger steel. I have two insanely beautiful. Oh, both. Very cool. Welcome. What part of Newfoundland? I have two insanely beautiful Tuckamores in natural curly maple. Even with this like low contrast camera and this poor lighting where I am, look at the figuring in this wood. It is just wild. The natural often shows the figuring quite well. And this piece would be what's called exceptional grade. And it is just wild on the figuring. That never gets old. That curly maple polishes like glass. I've got a few of those that'll probably go on the website pretty soon. But if you're interested, you can shoot me an email. This is the same wood in a dark, I think it might be called navy blue. It's a fairly dark blue, definitely darker, more contrasty than the camera shows. Black liner, but also just crazy figuring. Just really, really nice. Again, the Tuckamore. Oh, very cool. St. John's area, nice. Newfoundland is a beautiful province, not without its drawbacks, of course, but a very beautiful province. Chad, 22 yesterday and 2 degrees today. Yeah, we've seen some like that as well. We were out here one day and spent the afternoon in the yard cleaning and raking and shoveling, and I was out with no hat on. The sun's beaming down, just in a t-shirt, and burnt myself up real bad. The girls had so early in the year, I didn't even think about wearing sunscreen, but they've got rosy cheeks, tanned up, real cute. But since that, now we've had dark, rain, cold. I'm wearing my coat zipped all the way up, my heavy coat. Newfoundland spring, that's what we see. I see we've got a big chunk of ice. It looks like moving in quite a ways out yet, but it's coming. Thanks, Jerry. Let me continue here. The next two pieces and the last two pieces I'll probably show are one-off. Rick, medium gauge on my main guitar that I'm running right now. That's my Godin guitar. I switched to medium light. So the bass three strings are medium. The top three are lights. And boy, did that give my hands a struggle when I switched from lights just to that. But they end off at a 56, so it is fairly heavy. And I do like what it did to the tone of the guitar. It's just not quite as soft and fast right now. My hands have to kind of adjust again. Great question, though. I like guitar talk. But these two I'll show you here now are one-off pieces that Dad and I put together, the custom scales together, and they are beautiful. And it's a Tuckamore with a thick white G10 liner. You've got that black and white metallic pearloid inlay. And this is a gray curly maple. The gray really washes out on a low contrast camera. It's got lots of what do you call it? Chatoyance in person. A lot of depth to it, but just on camera like this, it looks really flat looking. But it is beautiful. And you've got that sparkly metallic, if you could see it in person, just that depth, how you can look through some of the clear epoxy and see the metallic in there. But just a really beautiful piece. Available. If it doesn't sell over the weekend, which I believe last weekend, all of those multi-part scales sold over the weekend just from people seeing them on the live stream. But as of right now, it's available if you want to email me and inquire. And then this one is, I like a little better. I think Dad might lean a little more towards the gray. This one I'm leaning towards. And I just think this is really, really classy. We've got brass hardware, in case you can't tell, in case it's washed out on the camera. Brass hardware. We've got that thick white G10 liner again. And then we have like a butterscotch micarta here. And then a natural curly maple, and then a maple burl up front. So lots of maple there. Kind of really cool to contrast the two grades of maple. I think that's really, really cool and just a great story time piece. But really like that classic old generation look. Just really beautiful. I love it. What do you think? Which would you pick? Let me know in the comments there. Would you pick the gray curly maple with the pearloid inlay, or would you pick the tri-part scale here with the two different types of maple? What's your vote, gray or brown? If you could leave a comment there. And again, none of these have they've been sharpened, but they don't have final cleaning or anything yet. So that's why they're looking a little grubby on camera. They'll go through final cleaning, and then they'll get put in some gorgeous leather work, and they'll be brought up. Oh, unanimous for brown so far. I haven't been playing for much for a few weeks now. I just in the nights we're not having much downtime, like to sit on the couch and watch some TV or that type of thing. And that's when I get a lot of my practice time in. End of the day, wife and I take 1 to 2 hours. We try to sit back and watch some TV or some YouTube together or some Netflix or a movie or something like that. And I'll sit, and she is very gracious to allow me to do this because I recognize it's pretty annoying. But she'll let me sit and just kind of play on the guitar, and she doesn't mind it. She actually likes it. She said, "That's love right there." And I'll just practice scales, and a lot of times I'll just palm mute and just palm mute. And I'm just practicing my picking technique, and I'm keeping my fingers loose, and I'll do 4 fret scales and just work my way up and down, just to allow my hands to work better over the scales and the picking especially. Sometimes I'll just mute all the strings up here, and I'll do triplets or doubles or singles or whatever, work up and down the strings. And it's just, if you do that every night when you're watching TV, you're just watching TV and you're just aimlessly working, then you could get in an hour to 2 hours every night. And within a week, the progress that you see in your hands and just how quickly you can move around the frets is incredible. And of course, I'd advise that same type of, for anything you're picking up new, anything you want to get into. My experience has been to just like deep dive, go all in, and you put in the work however you can make it happen. And then within a few weeks, you see this huge transformation. And that's what motivates you to just push that much harder. When you're, well, I'm going to try something new. I'd like to learn piano. Okay. And you're going to start piano, and it's new to you, and you get in, 1 or 2 short lessons, half-hour lessons a week, and you don't touch it much other than that. You will pick up that little bit of improvement with each lesson, but it takes you so long to see any real progress that your interest drops off, your motivation drops off, because you've been 6 weeks now, and I'm not really getting much better. I don't know if it's worth it. 6 weeks to have only come this far, it's going to take forever, right? And you drop off and you cast it aside. But if you can get in 3, 4, 5 weeks where you're just 2 or 3 weeks where you're just head and ears into it, you see so much progress that now you're revved up. And wow, within 2 weeks, I can already play chords and sing along with myself playing on the piano. It's incredible. Now you're revved up, and it's the same thing with guitar, whatever I go into. When I decided to start welding, I grabbed every scrap piece of metal I could find around, so it didn't cost me a bunch of money. And every chance I could get, if I was passing through the garage, I'd flick on the welder and run a couple welds. And you're doing it so often that you're seeing in real time your skills improve, and it makes it fun. You're seeing progress, and you're that much more driven to continue with it. Okay, my time is off on my computer. I was just confused for a second. But I started playing music with just a little bit of guitar, and then I pretty much went straight into drums. And I played primarily drums for a lot of my teenage years, my childhood, I'll say. And then I got into bass, and then guitar was kind of always in the background. I just moved through various instruments. I just love music, love to play. Last year or so, it's been guitar. I just love the guitar. But anything really that's requires some hand skill, or I just like doing stuff, and I like learning stuff, and I like working on stuff. It just got a lot of interests and hobbies, and it's made for a lot of learning throughout my life. Anybody got any questions? You're a real quiet group tonight. Brad King, do you speak any other languages? No, I don't speak any other languages. I know a little touch of, just from my Bible study, researching, comparing language in the Greek versus Hebrew or Arabic, and you're gaining some little points like that, looking up individual words and meaning of words. So you get a little bit of that, but in terms of like French, almost nothing. Outside of that, nothing. Let me know what you guys think. I might offend some people here now. Just popped in my mind, you speak of other languages. I was talking in my house this week how I've largely grown a level of disdain for the Newfoundland accent. And like I said, that might upset some people, but I talk, and I don't know, maybe you guys are hearing me and you're hearing a huge accent, but I don't try to speak with any kind of an accent. In fact, in most cases, I try not to speak with too much of an accent. And what kills me even more is it's a little bit of a thing here. There's a choice to not use proper English. And it just feels sometimes a little bit lazy, or a little bit like, why not just phrase your sentence properly? But of course, when I get around Newfie buddies and Newfie family, I can kind of fall back into some of those patterns as well. But for the most part, maybe you guys hear strong accent from me. For the most part, I have very little Newfoundland accent compared to a lot of people. What I do like the really old-timey Irish Newfoundland accent, the really strong, because I do enjoy an Irish accent, and it sounds kind of nice to hear that occasionally, especially some of the old fellas that do have a really strong Newfoundland accent. And of course, Newfoundland has so many dialects throughout just this little province. Because the communities are so cut off and separated from each other, they have like they're all centered around an Irish accent, but they all have their own dialects and choice of sounds and that type of thing. Ariel ain't got no cares about accent. I actually find that what you call town, you're from town, I actually find that a lot of the St. John's folk, or the townies, they do have a lot of those strong Irish tones. Just a learned thing. Even people from the area I am, when they moved to St. John's for university and that type of thing, they sort of developed or integrated some of those tones, those Newfoundland or those Irish tones. St. John's. Southern Shore, Cape Shore. I was listening to a little while ago a Newfoundlander on a podcast, and his accent was wild. I could not believe how strong of an Irish accent that he had. Just really, really crazy. But someone mentioned earlier, you seem to be very artistic with design and creative with your music. I wonder whether you can paint also. I haven't really spent any time painting. I have spent a ton of time drawing. Ever since I was a little kid, I've done a lot of drawing and sketching and that type of thing. And I am a pretty good drawer, if I do say so myself. But I also kind of need to be in the line of work that I'm in. I need to do a lot of sketching and design work and that type of thing for different knife patterns to help clients visualize what they're describing, so we can get on the same page. So I have to be able to sketch and draw and that type of thing. If a person orders some knives at the end of March, when could I expect them to ship? Ariel's pretty much right on as soon as they're ready. It depends. Most stuff is ready to most stuff on the website is ready to go right away, but unless something has gone funny for some reason, or we've ran out of something, which occasionally happens, it could take a little bit of extra time to put something together, but it should ship within the week is the goal, or within 7 to 10 days. Like I said, if it takes, a bunch of weeks, then that's probably because something went out of stock or something. We can check in if there's something going on with your order. Maybe we've already talked. Sam, I don't remember. I think, who am I speaking with when you say Sam 1725? Because it's hard to tell from your tags, but we can look into it. Brad King, I appreciate you saying so. Oh, Michael Arnett. Yeah, I believe the issue with you is that you have a whole bunch of knives. So I'm just, which I appreciate, but we're putting together all the facets of this big order here. So that's what's going on with that one, I believe. I know one piece, I believe, was finished up this week, and you have that natural tradesman that's being put together. So I was just putting it all together to come in one package. I think that was the strategy there. Hey, can you shoot me an email before I finalize my order off the site, please? Email a little while ago. Absolutely. I'm hoping to finally catch up on emails this weekend. I got behind. A lot of you guys know I talked about it last week. I had a couple live streams off. We were off for sickness and Easter, and it was just a while there. Stuff going on, and so I've got behind on emails, and I'm almost caught back up right now, but some of the earlier ones I've not quite got to, so I should finish that up this weekend. So we'll get to you, Jingle Bells. Any more black truckers in stock yet? I couldn't tell you right offhand. I'd have to look, buddy. Gordon Lightfoot. I'm not familiar enough to play something. Ariel, I'm guessing you are referencing a Gordon Lightfoot song. I'll be honest, I can't say that I've listened to too much of them. I had the privilege of playing just a few weeks ago now. A few of us from our church, my pastor, myself, my uncle, and my dad, the four of us in particular, went to a senior's home and done like a little short service. We were probably like an hour. There was no sermon or anything like that, but just hymns, courses, that type of thing. And it was so fantastic. And this was like an early stage home, so there wasn't any people there that were incapacitated or didn't have the sense to sing along. Everyone was, in right mind, and they were just so grateful. And that's what I commented on, because I play in church every Sunday, and you guys know sometimes what it's like being in a church setting. I'm sure plenty of you do, but these people in this seniors home, I don't know how often families get in to see them, and how many events they have and that type of thing, but they were so grateful to have us come for an hour and sing and play. And it is just so awesome to sit in front of a group like that, and you can just visibly tell and you can audibly tell that they're so appreciative and so thankful. And when you see that, it just makes you want to do it all the more. So it was just a lot of fun. We're going to go back soon. I think we're going to make it a fairly regular thing. They're like 45 minutes drive from us, but it was just beautiful. One of the best events, if you can call it an event, one of the best things that I've played at, or most rewarding for sure. Brad King, is the family all healthy now? We are all on the other side of it. This is the first week, I believe, that we started where everyone was feeling great, top notch, lots of energy, good mood. The sniffles and coughing is pretty much all gone now. We're feeling great, which is encouraging. It's nice to start and have a whole week like that. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for asking, buddy. Thanks for asking. I appreciate anytime someone asks about my family, and a lot of you do. When you email in, you check in on, how's your family doing? How's everyone feeling? Is anyone in any trouble? A lot of you tell me that you're praying for us, and I really appreciate all of that stuff. I remember, just popped in my mind thinking of you guys. I had who was that? I can't remember the name right now. If you're here, if you watch this, I apologize. But I had someone from Australia send a box of, we call them stuffies, but like stuffed animals. And these were nice, like legitimate stuffed animals of Australian animals. I think there's a platypus in there. There was an exotic bird. I don't know now. There were a number of these beautiful big stuffies, and they just sent them in for the girls. I thought that was so much fun, and we still have them now. Our girls take good care of their stuff. Chad, it's funny how that is, isn't it? How even though we've only met in person once or twice before, I think, just over the years with social media being so powerful and email and that type of thing being so powerful, that you really develop a relationship with people. And Strapped and Dangerous there has become a great friend. If you check out Strapped and Dangerous, if you don't mind me saying, if you click on his tag, I don't know how it works, if you can click on it and go to his YouTube channel of sorts, he has put out some awesome shorts they're shorts on YouTube, that type of thing, on some of the knives that he's gotten from me. And I just really appreciate that. He does a great job displaying them. Where's that? It's not as sweet on the harmonics as my Godin. Can kind of get there. They're not sweet. They don't sing to you, but they're there. Will I bolt the polisher down to the floor? I could do that. A good case could be made for that. What I did with my grinder, the grinder really gets heavy work, and we were just pushing it all around the floor. And so that one I didn't bolt to the floor. The polisher I haven't, but I should probably do that. That'd be a great idea. What is it that bothers you? Just that it's moving around? I've never noticed on video that it's moving around. Perhaps it is, and I wouldn't notice. Pains from Rocky Harbor. Not that I can think of, James, but it's possible. So I guess you're not from Newfoundland, James. Would you be flying in? If you're flying in Deer Lake, I'm about 2 hours from Deer Lake. But a beautiful drive. A beautiful drive. But it would be great. It would be great to have some of you guys stop in. We do some tours in the summer here, not group tours or anything, but we get some tourists stop in, and a lot of times, a number of times, there are people that have never seen my work or heard of me, but they drive past and they see the K and Knives sign on the building, and they want to know what it's about. How often do you see, a knife shop? What could this be about? So we get them stopping in motorhomes, RVs, that type of stuff. I get carried away sometimes when I'm playing the guitar. Yeah, it does move around. Usually what happens, it moves so slowly that every time I come for a new buffing session, I pull it to its place. And then I don't really notice it's walking away from me. And then I shut it down and I go on. And when I come back to it, I pull it to where I know it should be. No, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. I get it. We'll bolt it down. We'll get it bolted down. But as I was saying, I'd love to have some more folks stop by the shop and give the tour. We don't really have a storefront here as such, but we always, at this point right now, the way we're producing, there is a selection like this available almost at all times. Some of this will move this weekend and you'll lose stuff, but there's always product here, and where I'm stepping up the merch game now, you can come and buy hats and shirts and sweaters and knives. You can have a lot of fun here and see the shop that's going on. Chad's pretty good. The early vids, man, I've spent some time with some poor equipment and poor setups. For a long time, when I lived in St. John's, and this is when I met Chad in person. When I lived in St. John's, we had a little basement apartment that was still like ground level, but we had like the side driveway, and I had one of those Walmart TV trays, that you flip up and the leg slides out, and they're so wonky, so light, but I'd put my tools on that, and that's where I'd work. Start out real basic, but it's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride, that's for sure. Been crazy to see things change. Sometimes my wife and I sit back and think of, in 2017, so I know that's getting to be seven years now, but in 2017, we left university both with our second degrees, and that was in St. John's we were living. And of course, at that stage in life, I mean, we had so little and so little going on. And you're just in that place in life. We'd both been in university for like 5 years, multiple degrees, just making it, carving out a living, concentrating on school. And in 7 years, the amount of things in our lives that have changed is just unbelievable. When we look at every year, almost there have been major changes, from this apartment and a little unheated workshop and our first child, and then another child and a different workshop, and buying our home and another child, and just our life has been total. I don't know if chaos is a good word, because it's been just beautiful, ongoing change, just big change, so much fun. But in 7 years, I've got just a crazy amount of life lived, and a lot less hair as well. But so much has happened. A lot of fun. Brad King, that would be cool. That would be cool. If you do come to Newfoundland for a homeschooling trip, you should try to head out this way, and we'll meet up. I've actually got a client who I did a beautiful big order for a year or two ago. He's tried now one other time, and it didn't happen, but he's in Ontario, and he's coming down this summer, and he's spending a day or two out in our area, and we're going to see if we can get him out in the boat and get him to catch a few cod or something like that. That's what we're hoping for. But I just think that's great. I've had that happen once or twice, and of course, I'm not comfortable doing that with just anybody, but there are some clients that you really form friendships with that they're not clients before. Strapped and Dangerous is one of those people that at first they start as a customer, and you meet them, and then over time and through builds and through a lot of talking through builds, and then you get into talking about families and children and grandchildren, and you're just talking on a daily basis, and they become friends, and then maybe they come and they're out on the boat fishing before you know it. Yes, absolutely, Brad. You got some of those weird, freaky homeschool kids too, eh? I was thinking just this week we were out playing in the yard, and these ladies walk by the house. They walk pretty much every day, I think. And in an instant, 3 of my girls are down, and they're having a full-on conversation with these 3 ladies and talking to them, and they're petting the dog, and they're talking about the dog. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's those unsocialized homeschool kids, right? That's a big thing so many people get to talk about, How will your kids be socialized if they're not in a public school environment? And I think they do. They do just fine. Brad, I don't know how well yours are doing in terms of socialization, but I'm okay with my kids being a little weird and different, because there are certain things you want them to be estranged from or weird from. I'm okay with that. As for the socialization, one of my little girls is very much on the shy side, but the other ones, and my oldest, Brad, my oldest is like that. She will chat it up, and she will talk to 70-year-old women or men like they're her buddies, because she doesn't really see that line of she's just a kid. You know, kids should be seen and not heard. She doesn't have that line, and she chatted up with any of you guys here. And Kathleen, I just said guys, but then it clicked with me. I remember seeing Kathleen chime in. Hey, Kathleen. But yeah, and we love homeschooling so far. We have 2 in there now. And it's a really interesting experience. You know, we spent this morning for our homeschool time. You know, we spent about half the morning. We got on a conversation when we were sitting around the table eating breakfast. And me and a couple of the girls just talked for half the morning. And I had stuff planned, and I was going to work on some emails, and I was going to do this and that and this chore around the house. And we talked for 2+ hours. Just the conversation led this direction and that direction. And she kind of led it. And what spurred it on, and I'll end with this. What spurred it on is last night at youth, and I lead our church youth group, is every so often we give the youth a chance to write all their questions on slips of paper. What's troubling you about the Bible or about God? Write it on a slip of paper. You can pass it in anonymously, because kids are often afraid they don't want to sound stupid, probably. They're afraid of asking the wrong question or a dumb question. And so we give them the chance to pass it in anonymously. And so I was just typing questions up this morning, and my oldest was asking, what are the questions like? Can I hear some? And so I was reading her a few of the questions, keeping it anonymous. And we just started talking, and she was asking, about the answers to some of them. It was leading on, and it led to so many good topics. And that's kind of like, that's 3 weeks of social studies and religion class and history in one conversation. What you'd be able to tackle with a class, tackled in one conversation. So homeschooling is a really powerful tool if you just jump on those opportunities like that. And we love that, because who gets to sit with their kid on a school day for just a couple hours and just having beautiful conversation and snuggling? It's a beautiful thing. Very nice, James. Very nice. And of course, we don't look down on anyone for public schooling. There are certain benefits to homeschooling that we really wanted to avail of. We didn't want to miss out on. So that's what we've chosen to do. It doesn't work for everyone, I'm sure. Thanks so much for being here tonight. The boat project is moving along. I've got the next episode almost is 99% ready to go up. I'm thinking maybe Monday. And then I'd love to put out a video almost every day next week as I work on custom projects and restorations and stuff here in the shop. That's what I'd love to do. So we'll see if I can pull that off. Emails coming out to you guys. Check out my website, kandknives.ca. Shoot me an email, kyle@np-inc. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. For those of you who have your moms with you still, this is Mother's Day weekend. So make sure you give Mom a call, or if you have the privilege of stopping by, make sure you give her a hug. Clinton is here. Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me for an hour here on a Friday night. I appreciate it. I'm headed home to my wife. Good night, Jeff, Mark, James, Ryan, Chad. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. You too, Craig, buddy. I got to get out of here.